All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's another episode of yours truly, the emotional guy. And I am so excited at the season that we are in, the season of love, the season of giving, the season of a whole lot of things going down. People getting weary because they are alone, they are sad, they are alone. And then the pepper them gang, the couples, husband and wives, boyfriends and girlfriends, and even people who don't even know what they are doing, if they're actually in a relationship, they are going to form the pepper them gang. But today on the emotional guy, we'll be looking at gifting between a man and a woman who gets what. On the show today, we'll be having Rachel Anyanwu. She's an entrepreneur, a social activist, and a very beautiful lady. And we'll also be having Mr. Kingsley Ezebiro. He is an accountant, a father, a husband. He's a very good man. And most importantly, he knows how to cut clothes and make beautiful attires out of them. So maybe at the end of this show, Kingsley can put up his number and you can get to call him for your clothing. And Rachel can also put up her number and you get to call her for a whole range of things that she does, including very nice oats. Very nice oats. She is a marketer of very nice oats. You should try it. Okay, so let's get right to it. Let me start with Rachel. Rachel, should men expect or be receiving gifts?
Gifts. Okay. Me, I like being gift. I like gifts. And I'm of the impression that if I like something, I should do it for the next person. So I like to treat people the way I
Mm,
want to be treated. So
mm,
if I expect the man in my life or my friends, male friends, to give me gifts and I feel happy, there's nothing wrong with giving a man gifts. And I think he should expect it too. The man is human, isn't
mm,
he?
mm.
The man
Yes.
is
So, Kingsley, are you human?
Yes, I am. The blood running through my veins, I
So,
am human.
okay, great. Men, as a human and a man that you are, do you think men should get gifts?
Yes, men are deserving of gifts. Men are
Deserving.
actually deserving. Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's the way I would like to look at it. We deserve to receive
Could you
gifts.
can you elaborate more on the word deserving? When you say deserving, what do you mean by deserving?
Okay, so the phrase deserve means you are entitled to it, means you have earned it. So that is why I was careful to use the word deserve because
Okay.
being a man, a lot of responsibilities and pressures, have been laid on our shoulders. So it will be befitting enough for us to get something in appreciation of the efforts we put in into the work of being a man, as the case is at the moment. So it is something that we have earned. I believe that we have earned. Yes, I'll put
Okay.
it like that. Yes.
All right. So men are entitled to um, getting gifts. Men have earned it because of what they've been doing so far, and men should be appreciated with gifts. Those are the
Yes.
three things I take away from the things you've just said. Now, I don't know if Rachel has anything to respond to that. Entitled, men have earned it, and men should be appreciated with gifts.
Yeah, men are deserving of gifts. I agree. But for a man to get a gift from whether a fellow man or a woman, he has to have earned it from that person through whichever way. So being a man, yes, you are deserving of gift because you're human and you want to be appreciated. But you have to also earn it because you have to earn a gift from me. You have to earn a thank you from me to get a thank you. And sometimes gifts could be a way of saying thank you for being in my life. Thank you for the sacrifices you've done to me. Thank you for the support, whichever thank you. Well, gifts, I think, comes from a place of appreciation. So you have to, as a person, deserve it, not just because you are a man.
Yeah, not just because you're a man. So that kind of nullifies the entitled aspect of it. Rachel, don't you
Yeah.
think so?
Yes. Yes.
So men should earn it, but men are not entitled to it. That's the point Rachel is making.
Correct.
Okay. Maybe we should even track back a little bit and let's get to understand something. As a man that you are, Kingsley, as a man that you are, what do gifts actually mean to you? What do they mean to you?
Okay, so gifts mean I'm being appreciated. My contribution is being valued or appreciated. I as a person, I am seen or I'm being seen. You know, there's something about you being there and not being seen. So, or you doing, making yourself available, yourself responsible, and you're not being seen. Because if you see me, you should appreciate me. You should be able to show it. You know, so giftings for me as a man is an acknowledgement of my presence, acknowledgement of the value I bring to the table. It's you acknowledging my contribution to you as a person or to whoever that is reaching out to me, and it's that my efforts or whatever I'm doing, it's not in vain. You know, so that's
So
the way I look at it.
do you think it's good that you are married and you're a husband? Um, from your point of view as a man, do you think men are being seen enough with respect to this aspect of life? Do you think they're being seen enough? Do you think they're being appreciated enough?
Okay, so thank you,
I'm not
Truth.
just
I really
talking
appreciate
about
that
you now.
question.
I'm not just
Yes,
I'm not just
we're
talking
looking at
about
it, we're
you
looking
now.
at the general,
Holistically,
yes,
yeah.
holistically. I think men are not seen enough. And I'll put it simply, you know, many a times, we're speaking of men, we're not restricting it to fathers, we're not restricting it to just, we're speaking of
Yeah.
adult men. Many a
Men,
times they
brothers,
are not
uncles, fathers.
brothers, uncles. Many a times they are not being appreciated, they're not being seen enough. You know, yes, your contribution is acknowledged, but in acknowledging that appreciation, we are supposed to see a reaction from you. You know, but many a times men are being, you know, objectified as people who should be responsible to, you know, to the community, to the environment, to the family, and in turn, it is like a rite of passage. It's something you should do. It's not something that when you do it, you should be acknowledged for it. So I think men are not being seen enough. They are
All right.
not
So
being seen
Kingsley, hold
enough.
your thoughts there. Hold your thought there. Let me get to Rachel on this issue of men being seen enough and appreciated, especially via gifting. Rachel, Kingsley said men are not being appreciated enough. One of the components of this appreciation comes from women and children. You're a woman. Is there a particular reason why men are not appreciated enough and men are not being seen enough?
Okay, this is it for me. We come in a world where we feel entitled to men. When I say we, I mean women and children. We feel entitled. We have a notion of what the men should do, but we don't really think collectively of what we should do in turn for this man. Okay, so
That's right.
I don't know how to put it, but this is it. I am born, growing up, I'm taught that the father should provide for the family. Religious-wise too, we are taught that the father should do a lot of things. So even when we're in a social gathering and something needs to be done that has to deal with maybe hard work that has to require muscular or physical strength, we just think the man should do it. It just comes like that. Now, but when we do these things, because we feel entitled, we don't appreciate it. We don't think that it's a privilege to get these things. Now, it's not one size fits all. I'm not saying there are no women who appreciate their men. But on a general note, I don't think that we appreciate men enough. And
Of course.
I can understand why we feel entitled. And when you feel entitled to something, when it's not, you only see how well it should be done. You don't see how to appreciate the doer. And I agree with him that men should be appreciated more. We should learn that while we expect men to do those things we want them to do for us, we should always give them a pat on the back to say, we see you, we appreciate the things you do for us. I'm of that school of thought, and I'm not saying because I'm blind.
Okay, there's a component of this discussion from what you've said I've taken away, and I'll probably have both of you back here to talk about it, and it would be the actual reasons why some men are not being appreciated. Could it be that they didn't do it on time? Could it be that it was done haphazardly? There are so many could it beings that could have led to them not being appreciated. But let us focus on gifts. Let us focus on gifting to men. Now, Rachel, is there a particular form you should follow? Or should it just be you buy him a shoe or you buy him a belt? Could it be any other thing?
Okay, so the men who have been privileged to get close to know that from time to time I like to say thank you. But then it gets tricky on what to buy for a man, especially if it is not a man that you are in a romantic relationship with. Because I don't appreciate men, yes. I don't appreciate them. Yes. I like to appreciate the men who
why is it tricky? Why?
Okay,
What's tricky about buying something for a guy who you're not kissing or having that kind of intimacy with? I mean, yeah.
King is here, and I'm glad he's married. For you now, you're a young guy. I can buy you boxers, I can buy you pants, I can buy you anything. And
Kingsley is not an old man.
He's a married man. I'm sorry.
That doesn't make him an old man. You said me, I'm a young man.
Single man, I can buy you just anything without being scared that your wife. My question. Well, Kingsley here is married. So when I want to buy him gifts as a woman, I'm careful to put emotions. Okay, so I cannot, I like this, I like to buy a gift for Kingsley. Maybe the kind of materials he wears is not something I can afford. But I do really want to give him a gift. And then I go look for cufflinks, for instance. And then I'm like, no, if I get him cufflinks, his wife might begin to think that, why did she get you a cuff? Why did she get you this? Why did she get you something personal? And then most of the time I realize that when I ask men what gift to give to a man, they say buy wine. I don't know the class of wine to buy for him. Do you understand? If it's a woman, I can buy anything for her. She's a woman like me. I can just go pick up anything. But for men, it's not the same thing.
See, I'm getting very emotional about this right now, like seriously emotional, because I'm trying to understand why Rachel would think you're making it sound like it is difficult to buy men a gift. Let me come back to Kingsley. Kingsley, let me put it this way: you're married now. From what Rachel is saying, it's difficult for you to get gifts from people who are not, from females who are not, obviously you're not married to. Have you been getting gifts from people who are not your wife?
Since I got married, probably cash gifts. I have gotten a couple of cash gifts. Yeah.
From a female?
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Female give you money, a woman give you money. Wow.
Okay, so let's
the world is changing.
Women don't give money.
Rachel, you and I know that. You and I know what money means to a woman. You and I know what money means to a woman. And you and I know that for a woman to give you money, you must hold a very special place in the person's life. So Kingsley, whoever gave you that money, you must be very special and dear to that person. It must be that you must have done something very endearing to that person. But let's come back to what Rachel is saying. Do you think it is right for women to classify buying gifts for a married person like you as something very difficult? Do you think your wife would react to somebody buying you a cufflink or something like that? What do you think? And how would your wife react?
Okay, so she's just behind this door. I would have called her to answer this question, but it's fine. She's not prepared for this session. So basically, personally, I don't think my wife will have any problem with any type of gifts. And I think it comes from the place of understanding who your partner is and giving trust and earning it back. So I don't think I'll be looking over my shoulders.
Let me put it in perspective. Rachel is your friend, and Rachel sends you a pack of boxers on your birthday, to be precise. How would your wife react to it?
She will literally take one of them and start wearing.
Okay.
So she's going to take one or two for herself. If it was maybe 3 or 4, she was going to take one at least and say, "This is
probably
mine."
Everything. You know how women are. She might probably just take everything, and you'll be begging for one.
This fight you are talking, we will settle it off the internet.
See, Rachel, Kingsley's wife, as Kingsley has pointed out, is one of a kind.
Yeah, she's one of a
If
kind.
you were married to Kingsley, Rachel, and Kingsley's wife, that is not his wife now, buys him a pack of boxers on his birthday, tell me honestly how you would react to it.
Personally, won't have a problem with it. I'm going to celebrate it, and I might want him to put a call across where I also say thank you. I'm that kind of person, but I also know that I'm different. I relate with other women. I'm not saying that we are very petty, but sometimes we can be. And so because I don't know who the woman is and I don't know how she's going to respond, I want to be careful. So I'm not the reason why my good thoughts is not causing trouble somewhere.
Very true. Very true.
Okay.
So can I add something?
Yes, go ahead, Kingsley.
I would like to say that there was a question you asked Rachel initially, that you think it is difficult for men to get gifts, and she was saying the circumstance around, just like the married, we had to play a case scenario of me being married and you don't know what to get for a man and all that. I think the thoughtfulness, the idea alone about getting a gift for a man, you've crossed the 50 point mark. You've decided to get him a gift. Now, what type of gift now is relative to the kind of relationship you have with the person?
Yeah.
I'll give an example. When I was pursuing and I finally got it through the aid of somebody, he was a man, someone I respect, somebody I look up to. Chooks knows the person. And I thought of, what can I give to this person? He has it all. What can I really do for this person? And I said, I make clothes. So please, can I take your measurements and make something for you? And he was appreciated. When I bought those outfits, he was blown away. And instead of me just appreciating him alone, I got more contract, more deals from him. So the men hardly get gifts. So when you hit that spot of buying them something, just that thoughtfulness alone, about even if it's something they would not even use at all, but that thoughtfulness has endeared you to their heart, to our heart as men. So it leaves that door open. So whenever you need to access that door, you can always access it. That's what I've noticed as being a man.
And it's even worse for people who we think are more financially, who are at the top financially. I don't know. if you understand.
Mhm. I
People,
get you.
people who are on the average or on the lower class find it
Yeah,
difficult
economic class.
those are those who are a bit more privileged financially because they feel like, what do I get for this person? But sincerely, I like to gift my friends. I love,
Because but the
let them
truth
know
is,
that I
people
appreciate
who are
everything they do for
financially
me.
empowered, who have so much money that can do whatever they want to do, they hardly get
Yes,
anything from anybody. All
they
they
are
keep
always
doing
getting
is, especially men,
requests.
they keep getting requests to give, and nobody gives back to them.
I like to give
Okay.
those, especially
Uh,
those
That is
kind of
where the
people.
challenge is.
And I'm not
all
saying it
right.
because
So
they listen to this, they know I do it. It's something
okay.
I love.
So
Yeah,
so the takeaway from this is that in giving a man a gift, you need to be careful not to give
yeah.
a gift that will cause problems between he and his partner. But feel free to give any kind of gift to anybody as far as you're sure that it's not going to cause problems between he and his partner. Every kind of gift is
Mhm.
accepted, including
A
cryptocurrency. I mean,
car,
I
an
wouldn't
airplane,
mind getting crypto. Yes, yes.
crypto.
Now that
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
scarcity in Abuja, I mean, a gallon of fuel is not bad for gifts. You can even
It
buy
isn't.
meter units, power units for the
Yes,
person.
prepaid
All
units.
kinds of gifts.
Everything
Now,
is a gift. Yeah.
now, both of you have mentioned reactions people have, men have towards gifts. What kind of reaction, Rachel, would you expect from a man? Speak about a husband, a brother, and men generally. What kind of reaction would you expect from him? Would you like to see when you give a man a gift?
I don't have a preconceived reaction, but I just like to know that you appreciate it. Oh, Rachel, thanks for the thoughtfulness. Oh, wow, you went out of your way to do this. Whichever one. I know men are not as emotionally expressive as women. Whichever one, provided they thank you, comes with it, I'm fine.
If he cries, how would you react to it?
Oh, that's
Oh my
extreme.
God! Thank you. Oh my
Extreme.
God! You
No,
got this for me. How would
that's
you react to that?
extreme. That's extreme. I don't expect that. A thank you. Sometimes a pat on the back works for me. I like hugs a lot. So yes, a pat, if it's not someone I can hug, is fine.
So a man, you buy a gift for a man, assuming you buy a car for a guy and he starts crying, you're going to be like, what are you doing?
Why are you doing this? Yes, it's not necessary.
What what
Oh,
what do you mean by it's
but
not
men
necessary?
cry.
Is it
I
because
know men
he is a
cry.
man?
I know men cry. I'm not saying men shouldn't cry, of course. They are humans, like I say every time.
Mhm.
Men should express emotions. Okay,
Okay.
if crying is what feels okay by him, it's okay. But I'm going to be like, really, why is he crying? It's small. Because if I'm able to give someone a gift of a car, the person has made a lot of impact for me.
So if a woman
Um,
cries, would you think that way?
As a person, I don't, it's men are emotional. I mean, sorry, men are human beings and humans are emotional beings. I don't know why we think men
Rachel,
shouldn't cry. I would just feel that it's extreme
if
emotion.
you buy that gift, if you buy that gift for a woman and she cries, will you consider it emotional? Will you consider it extreme? Yes or no?
Okay, okay, now
Yes
you
or
want to
no?
shoot me in the foot. Women, we are
No,
we we
it's
are
a yes
we
or
are
no question. Rachel, yes or no?
women, we do a lot of
Mhm.
drama. We do a lot of drama. We can express emotions overboard. Do you understand? We express
Let me
emotions.
get to Kingsley on this. Oh, hold your thoughts, Rachel. Sorry. Kingsley, do you think there is an overboard reaction? As a man, do you consider reactions that you've given to your wife now as being overboard? Or has your wife ever complained about a reaction that you've given that it was too much for her?
Okay, I would say no, because before now, I had tried to, she had understood that I was a very sensitive person, and
So you
she
cry a
was
lot because
surprised
you're sensitive.
meeting someone who was very sensitive, and at a point, it was a cause for concern that men, uh, Not because it has nothing, it might not be crying, it might be getting to that point where, a woman has to begin to think deep about things that they do or that they see, because they notice you're very sensitive. Things could get to you easy of past experiences, what you've been through in life as a person. But I think she got the memo that I was a very sensitive person, and she got on board very fast. I also had to tone down a bit. There's something about compromise that you have to also be careful not to, make the person walk on eggshells. So there's nothing about being overly sensitive for me. I think I got to the point where I realized that, man, I had to leave my truth. I had to leave. If it was a moment of shedding tears, I had to shed tears. If it was a moment of, being sober, I had to be sober. I had to be quiet. I learned to express my emotions the right way, and that helped me deal with a lot of life issues, that came past my way in recent times. So I think she doesn't have issues with me being emotional or being sensitive. That's the way what would be like.
So this discussion is bringing up a whole lot of issues that um,
Yeah, it
time and the
is. It
topic will
is.
not allow us dive into. Kingsley mentioned something, expressing emotions the right way. That simply means that there is a wrong way of expressing emotions. But let's digress a
Emotions, yeah.
bit. This wrong way of expressing emotions, is it just for the men or does it apply to humans generally, Rachel?
Um, we're humans and we're raised differently and we see things differently. I grew up in a place where um, you hear men don't cry. I started questioning those thoughts as I grew, and I realized that men feel pain, so why shouldn't they cry? But it has not changed that there's a stereotype I still feel as a person, even though I still think that men should have. I still have those stereotypes that I'm dealing with. Do you understand? So sometimes I feel this
Yeah.
person is too emotional. Why are you reacting like this? I still feel those ways. But when I go back into my introspection moments, I think that there was nothing wrong with it. This was how the person felt best to express emotions at that time. It doesn't change the fact that we think certain things should be done a certain way, but really those standards were set by humans, and you can break some standards if it doesn't make you feel okay.
All right. Okay. So
Jules, can I
we're
can
we're
I can
trying to
I say
wind down.
something before you drop the next question? Sorry, sir.
Okay.
Um, there was something, the previous question you asked to Rachel. You were surprised that she said she will be shocked if she gives a guy a gift and he's emotional or he tries to cry, and all that. And I was hoping you were going to ask me that same question. I think it is why she said she would be surprised. It's simply because what the environment and the society has taught us to believe. Just like she said just now, that she was brought up in an environment that she was told that men shouldn't cry, and she began to question those things. Men shouldn't be sensitive, shouldn't be emotional. Now I learned on time that those thought patterns. Luckily for me, I saw my father cry. I saw my father go through pain, and he withdrew and expressed those emotions the right way, dealt with them, and came, you know, of those situations very well. So I learned on time that the ideology that men shouldn't cry is wrong, or that the ideology that men should not show emotion is wrong. It puts a lot of pressure on our backs, and when you don't express those emotions the right way, one way or the other it will come out, and that's where we're having so many issues popping up in the society, and emotionally honest people are moving around with a lot of issues on their back, and one way
Mm.
or the other they would have to express them.
Yeah, sure. Later on this show, we're going to be dealing with this topic that you brought on. It's slated to come up later, and God willing, we will deal with it appropriately. All right, so let's try to. We're running out of time, or rather, we've run out of time. Someone said that the best way men express their feeling about gifts is to brag about it. Men brag about gifts they get. Um, How true is that, Kingsley?
We have a trophy-like ideology. Like the value of what I got shows, it kind of gives me a respect, because the way we show love amongst ourselves as men is through respect, and how we receive love through is through respect. So we tend to place more value on what we got amongst our peers. I don't know if I made any sense at all. So in a way, bragging about it is simply saying, somebody appreciates me enough to gift me this worth of item. So I think it also has it lays some pressure on the women folk, or whoever that is gifting items to men, to want to up their game,
Why?
or to want to, because they feel, if this person doesn't display it, it means it's not worthy enough, or it doesn't show value for the person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Rachel, how would you respond to that? Men brag about things they receive, especially from their women.
Okay, so I know that
I didn't get that. Okay.
I know that we are wired differently and we respond to things differently. But
Okay.
men brag, I think that men brag when they are with other men. Do you
Of
understand?
course.
For me, whichever
Mhm.
way you express, whichever way feels best to you to express your emotions is fine, provided it doesn't hurt the next person. And then the next person that is hurting might also want to check themselves why this person's mode of expressing emotions hurts me. So I think it's an every individual watching himself. Life is not that difficult.
So if you have a man that brags about things you get for him, if he doesn't brag about some of them, about one of it, how would you feel? How will that make you feel?
I will not begin to think that maybe it doesn't fit, he doesn't really like it. Because that's his way of
So
expressing. That's his way. So for this person, I understand this person brags when I get. So when he doesn't brag about it, it now feels he doesn't appreciate it. But I'm not as a person, I'm not going to use that standard to judge another person.
so we should not use men's braggadocious attitude to judge their level of appreciation of what you've gotten for them.
That's
Yeah,
a bit
very true.
difficult.
All right.
That's a bit
All right.
difficult.
Okay. That's a bit difficult. I must say it's a bit difficult, but sometimes we just can't help it. We just want to show off. See what my babe bought for me. Almost see this watch, or more. She bought this watch for me, guy, and all of those things. I think everyone does that. Both married and single persons alike want to brag about their persons, but we just need to be careful in displaying these things so that we will not set the other person off when we don't brag. And to be honest, there might be so many reasons why we're not bragging at that moment. Maybe the environment we find ourselves in
Yeah.
does not call for that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Maybe the people we're with will not even appreciate the bragging that we're bragging at that time and stuff like that. So women,
Mhm.
um, when your men don't brag, when you expect them to brag, sometimes don't feel bad about it. Maybe he's not in the mood. Maybe the environment does not allow or is not conducive for bragging. So don't take it out on him and come back home and say, today at that wedding, I didn't see you showing off this wristwatch I bought for you, or you were not touching your tie every 2 minutes. Do you know how much I bought that tie? 17 million, 100 naira, stuff like that. Yeah. So as we round up the show, Rachel
Yeah.
and Kingsley, let me ask Rachel first this question. What is the most valued gift you've ever gotten for a guy?
Value is relative. One person appreciates things differently. And then I've been able to get a material. I like the color. I saw the material. I like the color. I felt it was going to fit a particular friend, a senior friend, and I got it. And he quickly made the dress and sent me the picture.
Okay.
So
Kingsley,
for me, I've
what
got
is
things,
the
but I think that they react differently, and value is relative.
all right, all right, thank you for that. Value is relative. Kingsley, what is the best gift you've gotten from a lady?
lady, the
Yeah.
best gift. I think for my wife, the gift of having our first child. I saw
Mm.
her. I've known her as a single lady, and you know, I saw the way she prided herself with how good she was looking, and to see her go through the 9 months strain, with her face all swollen, feet all swollen, the struggle, and she was still going to work. She didn't take days off except she had to. So it was the best gift for me. And seeing her in the labor room, pull through, and we had our first child, it was the best gift for me. So that's for me in this 30 something years of living. That's been the best gift that I've had.
So
I
did you
appreciate
cry?
that. Yes, I didn't cry. There was no tear in my eye. There
Oh
was
God, did
tear,
you
but
cry? Which one is there
there
was
was
no
no
tear in your eye?
No,
All
the tears
the
didn't come out. I was
did,
excited.
there's no day
I was
I.
excited
did
because
you cry?
it
Which one
felt
is there?
strange. No,
Yeah,
I didn't cry. It was tears
really.
of joy, but it didn't come out. It didn't come out. Being a
What are
father,
you
it
saying?
was exciting. No, I didn't cry. There was no tears.
It
I
was
didn't see
tears of
tears.
joy, but it did not
Seriously,
come out. Okay.
it was inside.
All right. All right. Okay, Rachel and Kingsley,
Yeah.
thank you for coming on the show, The Emotional Guy. It's nice having you. Um,
Thank you
Rachel
so much for
also
having me.
dabbles. She's okay. Let me say this. I'm not sure. I don't know if Rachel would like me to say this, but Rachel is a sex expert.
Sing
Mhm.
it. Sing it.
So,
I want to know as a
so
top expert.
she
Sing it.
so, so she tries to help people understand sex and whatever struggles they have around it. So find her on Facebook, on Instagram, hashtag SexMe. Maybe Rachel, maybe you should let people know your Facebook page and Instagram handles.
Okay, at just do once you do HTTP Facebook, put at Princess Rachie 2, as in figure 2, at Princess Rachie figure 2.
All right. At Princess Richie, figure two. All right. Okay, that's good. So if you're having problem with sex and all of that, you can find Rachel and she will help you
Yeah.
around it. I mean, she's the goddess
So,
of it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kingsley, would you like to put out your phone number out there so people can call you for their clothing?
okay. What 080
Mm-hmm.
3846 2072. You can also find us on Instagram at Doobie Clothing.
At
At what?
Dubi
Doobie
Clothing.
Clothing,
Please,
yes.
Dubi
At
Clothing.
Doobie Clothing.
Yeah.
DUBI
Can you clothing?
CLOTHING.
Yeah, please call your phone number again.
080 3846 2072.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it from our guest on the show today. You need to be careful when you're giving gifts, especially to people who have spouses and intimate partners. We should also learn to, as men, we should learn to express our emotions the right way. And you've also heard it from our guest on the show today. Men love gifts. Please give gifts to men. All kinds of
Yes, we
gifts
do.
are
Yes, we do.
accepted. Until we come your way
Yes.
next time, I remain the emotional guy. Thanks, Rachel. Thank you,
I
Kingsley.
totally got it.
Bye.
Mhm.